Alright guys, welcome back onto the channel. I debated whether or not I would actually do the heavy duty steering Forzathon event because, to be honest, I couldn't care less about driver gear, and since it is a prize, I wasn't sure whether or not it was worth doing. But since these events are actually fun to do, I decided to bring it over to the channel anyway. So that's exactly what we're gonna do in this video. So let's jump right into the second challenge. Before we start, the first challenge required you to drive with the braking line only. And since this is pretty much what I do in every race, it registered as complete while I was doing the first Forzathon challenge. So one of the challenges is out of the way, and we're gonna be starting from challenge number 2, which is complete a lap on Spa at night. So let's jump right into free play and do exactly that. We're driving a vintage Sport GT car, the Aston Martin V8 Vantage. I think I've driven this car maybe once or twice in the career mode. I don't remember exactly how he handles though. I know it's a straight line beast, so this is one of the reasons why I decided to go with this one specifically, because the Spa track is mostly straight lines. It's a high speed circuit, so we should benefit from the straight line speed, but I don't think we're going to be able to keep up though, because it feels like the other cars are actually faster than our Aston Martin, which is weird because our car is in the top of its class. We can't actually go beyond in terms of power, otherwise we're gonna fall out of the homologation and we're not gonna be able to use this car in this event. So I don't know what's up, but we're gonna try to stay as close as possible. The point of this race is not actually winning, we just need to complete the race, so it doesn't matter whether we win or lose. And since this is a fairly long track, I'm going with just one lap, just to keep things short. I often complain about how unremarkable some of the environments in Forza Motorsport are, especially when you have access to dynamic time of day, dynamic weather, dynamic quote-unquote. It's not actually dynamic. And I actually intend on doing a video covering some of the aspects of the Forza Motorsport game that were either overlooked or overhyped. And dynamic weather was one of them. The weather in this game is not actually dynamic. And just so you understand what I'm talking about, when I say dynamic weather, the weather needs to progress and change regardless of whether you're actually racing or not. But I don't know, I think that the weather in this game is a little bit scripted, because of course there are going to be several different parameters that are going to define whether or not the conditions change and how they change, but they feel scripted because unless you're actually racing, the time of day is not going to progress, the weather is not going to progress, it's going to remain static until you start actually moving your car and reaching a certain point of the race where the weather starts actually changing and the time of day starts to actually progress. So it feels a little bit scripted. I might be wrong, but that's the impression that I got from actually playing the game. We did awful. We finished in 13th, but that's good enough for us to fulfill the requirement for the challenge number 2. Alright, so we just finished challenge number 2, so let's move on to challenge number 3. Complete a race in a Forza Group Rally Division car in the rain. Okay, so this is straightforward enough. Forza Group Rally Division. Okay. So we're driving one of my favorite cars in this class, the Beetle, with this really cool Angry Birds livery that my wife made for me. You can actually find this livery in my store in the game. You just need to look up my nickname, Jiden Shotoko, and you should be able to find it fairly easily. And we're driving my favorite track in Forza games, Nürburgring. I really like this track because it has a little bit of everything. It has a low speed corner, it has high speed corners, it has twisty section, it has straight lines. It has a little bit of everything. It's long. I really like long tracks, which is why I often miss certain tracks that from past Forza Motorsport games. Like if you played Forza Motorsport 3, you should. Yeah, I'm doing really awful. It's really difficult to talk and drive at the same time. But anyways, if you've played Forza Motorsport 3, you probably are familiar with a couple of tracks that never made a return into the series, like Fujimi Kaido, Amalfi Coast. These were long tracks that were very similar to Nürburgring in the way that their layout goes. Oh man, I don't. Yeah, even though this is one of my favorite cars in the class, I'm starting to get the sense that this is not meant for this track. And anyways, I really wish that Turn 10 Studios brought some of these tracks back. They've already brought Maple Valley, which I don't remember whether or not this track was actually present in Forza Motorsport 2, but I do remember that in Forza Motorsport 3. Suzuka also made a return, so I have hopes that Fujimi Kaido and Amalfi Coast might make a comeback someday. Another track that I actually really loved in Forza Motorsport 3 was the New York track. I really love city tracks. They are my type of tracks. They are my favorite type of tracks, even though Nürburgring is my favorite. I don't know. I really hope that they bring it back someday. I'm gonna try to concentrate a little bit more and still keep talking because I don't want to fall too far back into the grid. Another game that I actually wanted to make a comeback is Project Gotham Racing. Man, that game was so... That game was actually my very first Xbox 360 game. I got a bundle that came with it, and I remember playing that game a lot for months. And I still own the game, even after moving across the globe, all the way from Brazil all the way to Japan. And I still own that game, and that game feels so nice. Even to this day, the graphics look awesome. The tracks are really fun. They're all original, but based on cities around the world. And it has a lot of what I love about racing games in general. Cars, of course, a racing game without a car wouldn't be a racing game after all. That's such a dumb thing to say. But anyways, it has city tracks. It has a lot of things going for that game, and I'm kind of sad that Microsoft decided to just close the studio that was behind the game. But I read somewhere that Microsoft actually holds the rights to the franchise. So I do hope that Microsoft one day brings this franchise back from the dead. I'm gonna restart a race because this race is awful. I'm gonna choose a different car because this car, I don't know, it feels so low to the ground that I'm not entirely sure whether or not it's suited for this track. So I think I'm gonna go with the, yeah, let's go with the Ford Focus RS RX. It's not actually powerful, but it should feel better around the corners, at least better than the Beetle. I have faith in Microsoft. They've been doing so many awesome things to the Xbox brand over the past few years. Ever since Phil Spencer assumed the role of the head of Xbox, a lot of awesome things have been happening to the Xbox as a whole. And I can only hope that this franchise is gonna make a return down the line. Hopefully, not far into the future. It's funny because every E3 that I watch live, I always have that kind of hope, like they're gonna throw in a teaser for Project Gotham Racing 5, and then I'm gonna be really happy. I don't know, man. I've been playing racing games since I was 7 years old. I'm 30, so I'm playing racing games for a little bit over 23 years. So I played a lot of racing games, but it's funny how there is always this bunch of racing games that always comes up as my all-time favorite. Like Forza, Gran Turismo, Ridge Racer, Project Gotham Racing. I used to love Need for Speed, but I don't know, they changed the series so much over the years that even though I really enjoy the games, they're not among my favorites anymore. But these games that I just mentioned, they are absolutely my all-time favorites. And I don't know, man, these games brings me so many great memories about my childhood, my teens, and it's related to so many stuff that I remember fondly, that I can only wish that this franchises lasts until I'm still alive. I don't know if that made sense, but I really want these franchises to be around for a long time. Oh, of course, I forgot about Forza Horizon, which quickly turned into one of my all-time favorites as well. Drive Club is not actually a franchise, it's just this one game, but Drive Club is my favorite racing game ever. And I need to do a video on that, by the way, because I have so much stuff to talk about Drive Club, so much of the stuff that I think they got right that other racing games should learn from and maybe apply into their games, that it deserves a dedicated video to just that. And I don't know if you're following the news, but the same studio that made Drive Club announced a new game, an arcade racer that's called Onrush. I don't know about that. I mean, I didn't get excited for that, to be honest. I need to actually see it in front of me to be able to tell whether or not I'm actually excited for it or not. But my first impression wasn't that great. But then again, when I saw the announcement of Drive Club many years ago, I didn't get excited either. I thought that, at least at first sight, it felt like it was one of those generic racers that wouldn't bring anything new to the table, that wouldn't add anything that to what has, and it wouldn't add anything new when you compare to everything that had been done up to that point. But that game shaped up to be something so incredible, something that should serve as an example of how a racing game should be done, and especially so how post-launch content support should be. in not only racing games, but pretty much every other type of game out there. That, I don't know, even though my hopes for Onrush are fairly low, it, it could still surprise me just like Drive Club did. So I think it's just a matter of giving it time, waiting for it to be released, and then I'll be able to make my own judgment on that. So we're doing a lot better using this car. We're still not in first place, we're in third, but it's a huge difference over the Beetle that we were using. It's just a piece of crap when you drive it in Nürburgring. But that car is awesome in Maple Valley. I remember that I had downloaded a tune for that car, and it's actually the same tune that I was using here in Nürburgring. And I won a couple races online in Maple Valley using that car with that tune. But it's clearly not suited for Nürburgring, so I may need to find a different tuning setup for Nürburgring or for every other track that's not as high speed as Maple Valley is. I believe we're halfway through the track by now. I should have been able to take the corner flat out, but there was a puddle. If I had taken that one flat out, I would have gone straight into the wall. Looks like we're gaining a little bit on the second place, actually. This car, I think the cars in this class in general, they tend to slide a little bit too much, especially so when it's raining. I don't know if that's something that's characteristic of this class, though. Maybe it is because they are actually rally cars. They're meant to be taken off-road, which makes me question why these cars are in Forza Motorsport 7. I can see that there's a place for them in Forza Horizon 3 because it's an open world racer. You have off-road sections, of course, but I don't see a place for them here in a mini track race unless... oh crap. Oh crap. Oh my god, what happened to that Beetle? I caused a huge mess. Oh crap, I was looking and I missed my corner. And this race is ruined. But anyways, unless Turn 10 Studio is planning to do something else with the race in this game, because I remember last year, before the game even got announced, officially at least, there were some rumors going around about the possibility of Forza Motorsport 7 having snow tracks, and we didn't see any at launch. So I think the only possibility that we have of having snow tracks brought over to Forza Motorsport 7 is via one of the possible 2 expansion packs that they're gonna be releasing for the game. I'm just assuming because that's how it worked in Forza Motorsport 6. We had 2 different expansion packs. We had the Porsche expansion packs, which added, I think, 1 or 2 extra tracks, and we also had the NASCAR expansion pack as well that added a lot of extra events, a lot of cars, a lot of achievements for you to unlock. So my cars would be placed on the possibility that if there's ever gonna be a snow track expansion, then it's gonna come with one of the expansion packs that they're probably gonna be releasing over the next couple months. So I think we just need to wait and see what's actually gonna happen with the game. But if they add snow tracks, then I think this type of cars actually make sense in the game. But as it is, it doesn't. But anyways, we finished the race. We caused a huge mess right at the end of the race. Now let's see if registered. We unlocked the achievement, so I believe it did. But of course the game is not registering, so I'm gonna need to reboot the game and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're back. I actually really needed to reboot the game in order to register, and we got our driver gear, the freezer burn. And that's it. That was fairly underwhelming because of the price mostly. I would have expected to get new cars with this type of events, but I see that Turn 10 Studios might be offering driver gears as a prize, and I'm not that excited about this new aspect of the Forzathon, but the events are fun to do anyway, so might as well do all of them. But anyways, guys, I hope you had fun watching me pretty much ruin the race at Nürburgring. If you did enjoy, hit the like button, share the video with your friends and on your social media, subscribe to the channel as well, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.